So you ready for something great today? Welcome to another episode of the Message Talk Show and Podcast, where passion creates change. And here is your host, Alex Gordon. You are listening to the Message Talk Show and Podcast. Do you believe you have something to share? Do you believe you have something to contribute? Do you have a story to tell the world, to share with your community? Gandhi said, man often becomes what he believes himself to be. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. So join us on the Message Talk Show and Podcast with host Alex Gordon. Hey, good morning, guys. Good morning from around the world. Today we have a special guest with us. No other than by the name of Roy Bean. Roy, how are you doing?
Hi, Alex. I'm doing very well. Thank you for inviting me onto your show today. I've seen the work that you're doing, and yeah, glad to be a part of this.
Well, it's amazing, sometimes you do small things and you think, hey, will this work? Will that not work? And before you know it, it suddenly starts to creep up on you.
Yeah, definitely. If you don't shoot, you don't score. So you got to be in it.
That's amazing. And since I've pushed this production out, the amount of conversations I'm having with people now about coming on the show, about what their giftings are, about what their abilities are, what to do, it's like a real great encouragement.
Yeah, I can see that. It's good to see you using this medium to amplify the work that people are doing in the B.A.M.E community. So yeah, well done.
Well, what we can say in the middle of COVID-19, because it's a very sad time for us. Lives have been lost. People have been hurt. Families are grieving at the moment. But in the midst of everything that we're going through, things are being born. Ideas are coming to life.
True.
Across the world, and that's what I am so grateful for. And
some it's a bit of a silver lining, so to speak.
Yeah,
because you're up against it. You've still got things that you want to achieve, and you start making the most out of technology and the connections that you might have been sitting on. Definitely time to make the most out of a bad situation.
Well, you can't lose focus, can you? You've got to keep pushing. You've got to keep going, because you never know where your moment is.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think sometimes it's in the moments of adversity when you find the best things in yourself. Or you draw on the inspiration from others when you see them overcoming their struggles as well.
Yeah. You dig deep and you find something. You find that diamond. Hey, the diamond inside of you, man. Wow.
Yeah, too true.
Anyway, so let's get on with the show, Roy. So, Roy Bean, who are you, sir? Introduce yourself to the audience across the world.
Okay. So, Roy Bean. I'm the founder of B.A.M.E on the Move. The objective of that organization is to create a platform where people that are aspiring to progress to the next level in their career or their business can communicate with others that have done so or have achieved prominence. So for example, we've held TED Talks, we've run seminars on how to create opportunities for yourself, and when you're in that situation, make the best out of that opportunity.
Okay, but let me cut you back, Roy, because that's the organization you run, Roy.
Yeah.
Who is Roy? I want to know who Roy is.
Okay.
What makes Roy? What got Roy where he is now?
Well, I think it might be worth just giving you a bit of an insight as to my journey, my own personal journey.
Okay.
So when I was 19, my mother passed away. So she passed away from cancer. And at that time, I was the type of individual that was quite hyped, into fashion, socializing, felt a lot about myself. I was a bit driven by ego. So a lot of the time when I see the youth of today getting drawn into all sorts of things, I see myself in those youths.
You understand? Okay.
Yeah, definitely. And I think when that kind of tragic event occurred, I was at a bit of a crossroads. So it was a bit of a situation where, do I get drawn in by the allure of crime? Because I lacked guidance in terms of strong role models in my life. Obviously, I lacked that mother figure. And I always knew in myself that I had some academic ability.
Okay.
So I decided to go university. And I think there was when I first started really experiencing the power within myself.
So who helped you to go to university then? Because without, you said, the role models that you had, who kind of pushed you to get to university?
Well, to be honest, my mum passed around the same time that I was doing the end of my A levels. So I didn't
all right.
A levels. But what I was able to do was establish a good relationship with the head of faculty at the college that I was at. I was at Colston College.
Okay.
So working together, he wrote me a letter of recommendation.
That's amazing.
Eventually, I was able to get into Greenwich University and start a course in construction. And as a result of doing that, I had this imposter syndrome because the people that I was in the class with, a lot of them were middle class, upper class, white people. And I was coming from a hood background. So certain times I might have been smelling of things I shouldn't have smelt like people smoking cannabis around me. So sometimes myself getting drawn in. So often feeling like, oh, what am I doing in this institution? But
it felt strange.
Yeah, what I realized is when they were calling out the grades, when I was submitting my coursework, because they used to call them out. So everyone in the class would wait for their name to be called and they'd shout the grade. When they shouted my grade, I was actually doing as well or better than these middle class people that I was feeling. That I was feeling a little bit imposed by. So that's when I started realizing that I had potential and the benefits of coming out of my comfort zone. So that gave you confidence. Really.
So that gave you confidence then?
Yeah, definitely. So moving on from that, there was always been this kind of peer group around me that some were kind of going down the academic route, others were more drawn towards the law of crime. And while I was at university, just after I finished university, I had two of my friends go to prison for quite long terms.
Wow.
And that was a big wake up call for me. I thought to myself, look, you've got a T1 because I managed to achieve a T1. You have to put these skills to use.
But let me stop you there, because in the midst of you trying to better yourself and trying to excel, and you're in the middle of a crossroad at the same time where you could have been dragged into what your friends are going into, or the crime they committed. You could have been dragged into it quite easily. What stopped you?
I think when my mum passed away, I had a younger brother and a younger sister, and I felt as though, in a way, I was acting as a bit of a surrogate father figure for them. And although there were instances where, through desperation, I might have got caught up in some criminal activities, I always thought to myself, look, you can't throw away all of the energy and effort that you've put into your education, and you have to. In the back of my mind, I was thinking, all right, if you end up going down the same route as these people, how are you going to feel when you have your younger brother and sister visiting you, and how are you going to be able to help them from when you're isolated and you're behind bars? So having that thought follow me kind of gave me the inspiration to stay on a straight and narrow eventually.
So you were having conversation with yourself? Yeah,
to a certain degree. In a way, it's that inner guidance. Sometimes you have that conscience. I think that kept me on path, to be honest.
You went to Greenwich, you graduated, you got a 2-1, and then you're out in the big world. What happens then?
All right, so I think this is where I started really coming to a bit of a clash. So for me, the corporate world always seemed like something really daunting, because although I was able to write, I hadn't really found myself in a situation where I was in a professional setting and I had to apply those skills in the workplace. So I went for a few interviews. I started getting some feedback like, oh, your personality didn't come across in the interview, or we're not sure you're quite the right fit. And I really got disheartened. I got really disheartened. I think where I was able to make this transition was because I aligned myself with my uncle. My uncle is a successful plumber, and he just kind of boosted me up, kept on telling me, look, these people are people just like you. They've got to go to the toilet, they've got to breathe, they've got to eat. All you've got to do is make sure that you give the best account of yourself and keep practicing. So although it was late in my life that I was able to align myself with a role model, it helped push me to the point where I was able to get my first job.
Wow.
Which was a job as a trainee surveyor, my first proper job anyway. And there, that again presented some other challenges.
Man, all I can say, you had a lot of will within you. There's a lot of will. Your mum really put some fire in you.
Yeah, I think just kind of linking things back to B.A.M.E. on the Move a bit. So a lot of the time you find people that get to a position where they're quite privileged, because it's hard enough for not everyone, but it can be hard for BAME individuals to reach a prominent position, for them to get the job that they want to get, to earn what they need to earn, to be able to get a mortgage. And when they do, often you might find that they kind of keep the secrets of success to themselves, and they don't open the door and bring other people in like you do see with other cultures. Through my experiences, I'm keen to encourage other people that might be on the crossroads to come out of their comfort zone, to get exposed to things that will encourage them to be the best that they can be.
So everything that happened to you caused you to set up BAME. Now explain to my public out there who doesn't know, who may not be from our community, to understand what BAME actually is.
Okay, so BAME is Black, Asian and Minority Ethnic. So the reason why I set up BAME on the Move is, a little while back I was working at Ministry of Justice, and while I was there, they had an initiative called Race to the Top. I'm a contractor, so I work for a day rate, and usually those types of things are for permanent members of staff. But I was able to talk my way in, so I joined this initiative. I went to a few of their seminars and workshops. But what I found is that it felt like a bit of a pity party. So people would turn up, they'd say, "Oh, I've gone for this job, I haven't been able to get it." People showing their war wounds. "Oh, I'm constantly getting negative one-to-ones from my manager. I'm not getting positive feedback. There's no one else that's in leadership positions." So I grew frustrated in that it seemed more of a forum to complain about what wasn't working, rather than for you to come away with tangible solutions. So in response to that, I decided to create a seminar, which was primarily focused on interview preparation and what to do once you've got the job. I decided, all right, I've created a seminar. How am I going to get this out to the people? So I started interviewing people. So I started going to a few other seminars of a similar nature. And I ended up interviewing Paul McFarlane, who is one of the directors at the Black Solicitors Network. And as a result of interviewing him, I delivered a workshop in partnership with the Black Solicitors Network at Wakeman Solicitors firm.
Okay.
So really, it's seeing what's out there, knowing that I feel that I can deliver something, and aligning myself with individuals that can help me create and deliver material that BAME individuals can benefit from, especially those that are keen to progress in their careers and their businesses.
Wow. So is BAME just London based, or it's across the country?
So primarily the events that I've held have been in London. We've recently started forging links with people outside of London, and we've got strong ties with Black Men Walking, who are a movement in Sheffield, who just go on walks in nature and promote mindfulness in the Black community. Because a lot of the time, sometimes the focus can be too much on what you need to be, what you need to do in the workplace, how you need to act, etc. Sometimes you need to take in more aspects, like the psychological aspects, how to unwind, how to balance all of the pressures, etc.
Black Men Walking.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That sounds exciting.
That's right.
So the topic we kind of homed in on today is how to build critical mass to raise up inspirational leaders and role models. And you have a real big heart to blow this thing up for critical mass, in the sense of grilling up big. Why is that?
I think just looking at the issues that the community are facing at the moment. So you've got a lot of I recently lived in Croydon, now living in Beckenham at the moment. While I was living in Croydon, it seemed that almost every month there was violent knife crime, or there was negative representations of BAME, particularly young BAME male individuals that have found themselves in situations that where they're to a certain extent they're trapped. For me, what my inspiration is to ensure that these individuals see people like me, are connected to other prominent people, get the the inspiration and access that they need to realize the power that they have within themselves and the options that they have. So even if I take me for example, at the moment I'm working. I also work as a contractor. So at the moment I've got a contract with a company called Sodexo, and the last contract that I've had a contract with Ministry of Justice and the College of Policing. These contracts I wouldn't be able to have if I had a criminal record.
Right.
I think people don't realize the consequences of the actions that they are taking. And people are often trapped within their comfort zones, or they might aspire to do things, but they see it as too daunting a task because they're not exposed to other people that are doing it. They're not linked to role models. They're not given the techniques and the toolkits to navigate through the system, how to apply for a job properly, how to align yourself with the right type of role model, how to network effectively. These are the things that I'm keen to equip not just the youth, but people that are in mid to junior level positions that are seeking to get to more senior management, or people that are seeking to grow their business. They've got great ideas, but they struggle to communicate or represent.
I was about to say that, because someone may not have a criminal record and may have all the base qualifications, but they don't know the path to get there. They don't know how to navigate the path. They don't know how to play the game.
Yeah, definitely. And I think a lot of people, someone might have a job and they're doing all right in the job. They know they can do a lot better. They get a few knocks where, I don't know, they ask to get a bit of support for a course, or they go for a promotion and they don't get it. And they look around and they see other people from B.A.M.E backgrounds experiencing similar things to them, and they find themselves disheartened. Sometimes people can check out at that point if they're not shown other avenues and ways to achieve that goal.
So let me ask you, let me throw something at you now, because I've been around a long time now, been around a long time, seen a lot of things. Don't you think we've done this before? Have we not done this before by now?
I'd say to a certain degree, we do things, but I don't think it's all being done under the B.A.M.E umbrella.
Okay.
So say for example, someone's looking at career progression and how to pull together a CV and how to apply for an interview. That's something that you can go into. You could look at a book and you can find out the techniques. Great. But I think where B.A.M.E on the Move add value and potentially have a unique selling point is, what we would do is seek to get someone that's in a prominent position to talk about their experiences, the challenges and barriers that they have overcome, and deliver the material rather than it being something that's delivered in isolation. You are able to benefit from the experiences of people that have been able to achieve prominence in their career or in their business. So I think
relationships then.
Sorry, can you say that again?
You always seem to connect people on the mentoring type level. Yeah,
definitely, and not just that, but create forums where you can have a Q&A with an individual that you might only previously have been able to admire from afar. So one of the events that we're currently working on, obviously we're waiting for the circumstances to change where we can actually use events or deliver events at venues. We've got an event with the Chief Operations Officer for One Housing, and she'll be talking about how coaching and networking has helped her to navigate through her career and deliver Q&A and so on in relation to that topic. I think that makes B.A.M.E on the Move unique in that the people that would go to that event would maybe see that person post things on LinkedIn, maybe see announcements about their career in the media, but not actually be able to have that conduit where they can have direct interaction and see behind the corporate layer the journey that this individual went through in order to achieve their prominent position.
All right, so let me pull up one of your events and just talk us through what's happening here. Let me just take us there, because I saw one of your videos and I thought it was really interesting. So let me just go there at the moment. so we can see. So what event was this?
All right, so this is the event that I spoke about with the Black Solicitors Network. That person that you can see right now, it was Morad Chowdhury, former head of Treasury at RBS. So the event was primarily focused on how to use creative job hunting techniques and interview preparation techniques to nail the job that you're after. Yeah, that went really well. It was well attended, and we got some really good feedback. I think one barometer of success is when the delegates come back to you and say that they've used the skills and techniques that they've learned at your event and have been able to secure jobs. So yeah, we did get a number of people that went to the event just before their job search and were able to secure jobs as a result of the techniques.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah,
I'm quite encouraged by the size of the crowd as well.
Yeah, it was definitely a good turnout. I think one gem that I would share for people that are watching this and potentially have a job interview coming up is when you go into the job interview, try and set the baseline as high as you can. So come in, demonstrate that you've got good knowledge of the organization that you're coming to interview for. So look at their annual report, etc., and have a story in mind that you want to deliver regardless of whatever questions they ask you. What I would always encourage an individual to do is think about how they would explain their 90-day plan. So what they would do within the first 90 days of them being employed, and find a way to communicate that during the interview. That's just one gem. I think you can say for people to have benefits, even from discussions like this, that they can use the next day even.
Not many people go to an interview and discuss a 90-day plan.
Yeah, I think if you have it in your mind, all right, so if I was employed, these are the things that I'd like, that I would intend to do, that I think would add value to your organization within the first 3 months. I think straight away that separates you from your usual candidate that's just focused on bog standard questions. It shows that it gives you an opportunity to show that you've done research on that organization and gets them to visualize you in that organization doing good work for them.
Wow. That really sets you apart, because and in these days when you know, there was a time when degrees were scarce.
Yeah.
And so the degree alone would set you up for a great job. So now when the competition is high, you have to separate yourself.
Yeah, there's a lot of graduates that are doing jobs that they never intended to do. There's a lot of graduates that are stacking shelves in warehouses. There's a lot of graduates that are up against stiff competition, and despite the fact that they might have ability, might not be able to portray themselves when it comes to interview or know how to navigate through selection processes. So this is where I'm keen to assist other people and link them with other people that have been able to achieve success in those situations, been able to get training contracts, etc.
So how do you intend to connect this, in the sense that, because you as I said, we're talking about critical mass now. So you got London, you've got the different towns in London. How are you hoping to push this out? How you intend to do that?
All right, so we held an event with South Bank University, and that was a TED style talk event. So we had someone speaking about how to use trademarks to secure your business and your APR. We had people speaking about diversity and inclusion. We had a partner at a law firm talking about his journey from being in the council estate to being a partner in a top 50 law firm. What I'd like to do is forge partnerships with other educational institutes. So, for example, University of Birmingham, Liverpool, Sheffield, so that we can replicate the winning formula of delivering these TED Talks, getting people to have Q&A with individuals, connecting businesses with potential candidates. That's the intention, really, just to scale up what's been done in London.
And so we're looking for partnerships with institutions, with organizations, with individuals, with professionals across the country who think they've got something to contribute.
Yeah, definitely. And also all other organizations. So So say for example, you've got a building firm, or you've got a banking firm that has a corporate responsibility element to their organization, and they're keen to attract BAME staff. What I'd like to do is align with those organizations by either getting sponsorship or delivering events at their sites, so that the candidates that are coming to my events that are potentially good candidates or good fits for that organization can be aligned to these people, can be aligned to these companies. So really, it's connecting on a mass scale
and providing an experience.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's key to it. I think one thing that I'd like to touch on is, it can often be quite difficult in that when you're in a corporate environment, to a certain degree, you can find yourself putting on a bit of a game face so that you can fit into that organization. And then as you get more and more confident, as you get more and more successful, you're able to be yourself. And in being yourself, you actually get better, and you're able to deliver a better message or perform better. And really, I'm keen to see. I'm keen to let people see that although someone's a CEO, they can be just like you.
Yeah.
They could have come from similar backgrounds to the one that you've come from.
Yeah.
They could have started off with the same aspirations or temptations or whatever you're exposed to, but they've made it too. So yeah, that's keen, and that's part of the experience that I'm keen.
Yeah. That's important. That's important to show that real person behind the facade of the name, of the achievement that someone's achieved in their lives.
Yeah, definitely.
And sometimes, as you said, there's a gameplay all the time just to keep climbing, and that game face sometimes is a bit deceiving. So, what's the underlying values of BAME?
Well, for me, the underlying values are to ensure that people from BAME communities have the same opportunities as people that are non-BAME. So, and to ensure that people from BAME communities have an ability to reach their full potential.
And you believe that there's an inequality out there in terms of the BAME community getting access and achieving?
Yeah, particularly when it comes to the higher end of the scale. So you've got low percentage of BAME individuals that are sitting in boardrooms. I've often been in situations where I know for a fact that individuals smart and has got a lot to contribute, but because of imposter syndrome or because of nervousness or because they're unfamiliar with certain scenarios, they might not speak up at meetings, and they might not take the opportunities to shine when the opportunity presents itself. So really, it's ensuring that BAME individuals are prepared and able to create opportunities for themselves.
But if you get that far, why would you not step up in the middle of a meeting like that? What's holding you back at that point? You've got all the initial qualifications, and you're in the job, you're in the place, and what's stopping you there?
What can often happen, and this is something that I've experienced myself, is sometimes you can find yourself subjected to micro behaviors, microaggression. So, for example, because maybe you might be the only black person in the meeting, you might not be asked questions, or you might be spoken over, or there might be subtle jokes that you might feel are at your expense. I'll give you one quick example. Last year, Liam Neeson said something about someone he knew was attacked by a black person, and he wanted to go out and kill the first black person he saw.
Wow.
And there was a big hoo-ha about that in the media. And while I was at work, there were two white guys speaking in the kitchen, and I was just in the kitchen trying to mind my own business, trying to make a sandwich on the low. And one white guy spoke to another guy, and he started laughing. He started laughing to the guy. He's like, "Did you hear what he said? Did you hear what he said?" And the other white guy that he was speaking to said, "I want to kill a black man."
My God.
That's what the white guy said. Then he looked over to me, and these guys didn't know me, and he looked over to me and he said, "Oh, I didn't say that. That's what he said."
So he was quoting.
Yeah. So it's such a microaggression that it is almost like how do you react to that situation, and that's the type of thing that can deflate an individual, even though they're in a job, even though they're wearing a suit and they're feeling confident. That's like the type of curveball that
even though it sounds like they're being jesting as well, it's very serious.
Yeah. So I didn't know what to say. I just said, yeah, he's always playing an action hero. He's probably in it. He's probably constantly thinking about killing people. Have you seen the roles that he plays? That's all I had as a retort. In my mind, I wanted to say, why are you speaking to me about this? Why are you looking at me? How would you feel if you was the only black person in the office and you were hearing these types of conversations and being drawn in? Yeah. So that's just an example, really.
Well, great composure on yourself.
Yeah, because sometimes you got to pick the battles that you fight.
Yeah.
You got to pick the battles that you fight. What? Just one piece of advice with regards to microaggression is, if you find yourself in a situation where you're exposed to that type of behavior on a regular basis or frequently, I would encourage individuals to make sure that they keep a diary, and when they feel that they've got sufficient evidence, they communicate that to the right individual. Be careful. Think about, if it's your line manager, what their alliances with the individual are. If you can find that unbiased approach, like going to HR or something, then give that consideration. But to start off with, keep a diary so that if you need to refer to something, you've got facts and dates.
Wow. Man, it sounds like a battlefield, man.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy.
That's to climb the ladder. Sorry?
I would imagine you yourself have, in some way or another, experienced some form of racial experience throughout your career leading up to this point now.
No. I'd be lying if I said no. I'd be lying if I said no. But somehow you find something else within you to focus on, don't you?
Yeah, definitely.
Because if you respond to the bait, then you become a victim. Yeah,
there's that. Another thing that I'd like to add is, I think it's key to remember why you're there and to stay focused on your objectives. So whether you're a contractor working for yourself or you're working for an organization, throughout that year that you're employed or however long you're there are things that you want to achieve in that organization. There are things that you want to be known for in terms of success. There are opportunities that you want to take advantage of. So whatever your interactions are, in the back of your mind, that should be your orientation. That should be, all right, how will the way that I behave affect my long-term goal? Yeah. And yeah, to a certain degree, you have to keep that balance.
Yeah, that's true, because today we're not just talking about entrepreneurs now, we're talking about intrapreneurs, people that stay within a company and really help that company to grow and use their initiative, and they get rewarded for it as well, because the company then benefits from their super skills that they developed.
Yeah, definitely. And just kind of going back to the whole B.A.M.E thing, then to a certain degree, they might become a role model for another person that's coming in as a graduate, or someone that's been there for quite some time, thinks that they've got ability, but are not sure how to navigate through that organization. When someone else does it, if they've got that kind of sharing and caring mentality within them, then potentially they can help other individuals achieve what they've achieved.
Okay, we just had a heads up from someone. Faylene Campbell saying, "Hey guys, hi Faylene."
Hi Faylene, how you doing? You all right
there? Okay, now this is really helpful for our community, in the sense that we need organizations collaborating across the country. Not
Yeah,
that they're not collaborations, but it's the visibility. Am I right? It's the visibility.
Yeah, I'd say, well, yes, it is the visibility, but there's a lot of people doing great work in silos.
Yeah.
So you might have a non-for-profit organization that is doing a lot of work with youth crime. You've got another one that's doing a lot of work with graduates. You've got another one that's doing a lot of work with apprenticeships. But they're working in silos. A lot of the time, they've got common interests. A lot of the time,
Right.
they've got one person might have connections to venues, another person might have connections to speakers. So it's, in a way, coming together and trying to see where we can make the most out of all of the attributes that we've built up in those silos, as like we have today. Like you've got an audience that you're developing. I have a service that I deliver. Us coming together, we can amplify the work that we're doing.
No, that's true. So let me ask another question then. How are you funded? How's your organization funded for what it's doing then?
All right, so last year we became a community interest company. So now we're in a position where we can apply for funding from the government. But there are numerous ways. So what I'd like to do is partner with an organization that is able to provide a venue. So for example, if I partner with a university, then obviously they've got lecture halls, etc. So
Right.
that cuts the costs. There's also the sponsorship angle. So if we're doing an event on career progression, and for example, I don't know, if we were to take Barclays, for example, they've got a corporate responsibility initiative where they're trying to attract B.A.M.E staff. Us providing that event potentially gives them access to an audience that they might not have had, or it gives them access to a stream of talent,
right,
that they might not have. So that could potentially be an avenue for sponsorship. And also, there's ticket sales. So you have an event, you sell tickets at a certain price, you allow for a profit, you allow enough money to pay for the speakers, the filming, and all of your overheads, and all of those things effectively are income streams, so to speak.
So you want supporters, man. You need some supporters across the country now for this.
Yeah, definitely. Supporters and people to partner with that have common interests and that are action orientated, that actually want to deliver things that people from B.A.M.E communities can use as tools to further themselves in their career and their business.
So if there's people out there right now listening and they think that, you know, they want to partner with you, they want to connect with you, what should they do?
Well, I think the simplest thing would be to send me an email at roy@BAMEOTM.com. Visit my website. All you've got to do is type in B.A.M.E on the Move and it will come up. I'm also on LinkedIn, so Roy Bean M.Sips on LinkedIn. You'll find me, connect with me, and then we can explore ways that we can work together and collaborate potentially if we've got common interests.
Let me just type that in for you so we can see it on the screen. Get it at roy@BAME-OTM.com. Here we are.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. roy@BAME-OTM.com, yeah?
Yeah, that's right. That's me. So yeah, feel free to drop me a line. Let me know what you're doing. We can schedule a call, talk about ways that we can potentially work together, or if not, sometimes just sharing connections is a great way of each person furthering each person's cause. Because I might have connections that you don't have, and vice versa.
Yeah, that's true. And if you're not if you know someone, that's it. If you know someone, that's true. If you know someone, just pass the connection on.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
Where's the vision now? Where's the vision? Paint me that vision now. Paint me that vision. 5 to 10 years from now, where do you see this thing?
All right, so I would ideally see myself in a situation where the educational institutes throughout the UK are familiar with B.A.M.E on the Move. They are keen to give me space where I can organize TED Talks for prominent people to talk about how they've navigated to their prominent position, the barriers that they've overcome. And also, I would be keen to be in a position where I've constantly got speakers that want to work with me, that that are in prominent positions. So CEOs, people like yourself, other individuals that are having a positive impact in the community. So really just a high profile, a network of organizations to partner with. And finally, and most importantly, a long list of B.A.M.E individuals that have been positively impacted by the work that I've done. So either been able to get jobs, been able to get promotions, been able to progress their businesses. Really, that is the barometer of success, like I said earlier.
Yeah, it's the evidence.
Yeah, really, because you can hold loads and loads and loads and loads of events. You can speak to loads and loads of people, but what they come away with and what they're able to implement within their lives is really the testimony to how well what you're doing is impacting the community. So really, that's what I'm aiming for.
So I'm thinking, Roy, because remember you said you're in project management, and so B.A.M.E is something that you do in addition to being a contractor. How do you find the time?
To be honest, it's about discipline and sacrifice. So I'm not sure what your experience is in terms of self-help and self-improvement. But I'm quite a big advocate for self-help and self-improvement. One of the books that I've read is Think and Grow Rich.
Hey, everyone's read that book, man.
One of the key themes in there is deciding what you want to sacrifice in order to get what you want to get. Yeah. So for me, I'm like, all right, look, I know that I've got ability to help people. I'm a contractor, so I'm often up against people that are older than me, got a lot more experience than I have, but I've been able to time and time again have a successful outcome when I've gone to interviews. So I need to sacrifice my time to ensure that I put the energy and effort into B.A.M.E on the move whilst delivering my job as well, my actual day job, so that not only do I thrive as an individual because I've got my day job going well, but I'm also able to give back. So in a way, it's a form of charity. It's not just although profit is nice.
Yeah.
For me, the main takeaway is the positive impact that I'm able to have on individuals by sharing my skill sets and connecting them with others.
That means you're a B.A.M.E ambassador all the time.
Yeah, definitely. Have to be.
In every situation, you're able to demonstrate and connect people wherever you are.
Yeah, I think you need to have a level of consistency in order to do so, because all right, B.A.M.E on the Move is a good organization, but at the same time, as the founder and face of the organization, I have to be able to employ the techniques that I am telling people to employ in their life. I have to be able to secure jobs. I have to be able to navigate through a corporate environment. I have to be able to have a successful business, so that I can, in a way, be the embodiment of
that's true.
The organization is.
Okay, so we're coming to close. Wow, man, the time has just disappeared again. Wow.
Yeah, good.
Amazing, man. You've enjoyed yourself here.
Yeah, definitely. Some good questions, Alex.
So you're now giving the final word out there to partners, to sponsors, to potential collaborators. What was your and audience as well? What would you want to say to them?
Well, my final word to the audience is, let's become our ultimate selves. Let's work with each other to become our ultimate selves. Let's share the skill sets that we have. Let's keep open minds, and let's aspire to be as great as we can be and create opportunities to do so. That's what B.A.M.E on the Move is here to do. So let's work together to achieve that.
Wow, that's powerful. That's powerful. But before we go, let's also talk to the people that are likely to use your service. Who are those ideal clients that would be able to tap into your service?
All right, so there's a few different levels. So there's young people, so those that are recently graduated or currently in the process of in their final years of university or college, and they're seeking to get into their first job. We can coach you on how to apply for the job, how to create a proper CV, and how to give the best account of yourself when you're in the interview. And that also would apply to mid to junior level staff that are aspiring to get to senior management positions. So we can give you a bit of insights as to what is expected when you're operating at that level. We can coach you, we can connect you to people within varying fields, whether it be law, tech, or whatever it might be, so that you can establish mentoring and coaching relationships so that you can achieve your goal. So yeah, that's what we can do for individuals, as well as obviously the talks and the seminars and the etc.
Wow, sounds awesome, man. You know, ladies and gentlemen, this is Roy Bean from B.A.M.E on the Move, and he really wants to connect with you, the sponsor, you, the collaborator, you, the client, and people from all over the world who wants to help. Because as we said earlier, it's critical mass. It's a movement. It's a movement, and with every movement, it has to go beyond the individual. Am I right, Roy?
Yeah, definitely. A movement isn't just one person. A movement is people with common interests coming together. Even sometimes you might not have a common interest, but you realize because you've got the same passion and drive to develop and to progress. So yeah, a movement takes a group.
And with self-improvement as the core underpinning of everything you do. You stressed that earlier.
Yeah, definitely. Because at the end of the day, the motivation comes from yourself. So you're in a current situation, you want to get to another situation, you need to have the drive and determination to find the tools to get you to that situation. And you need to find out what behaviors, what actions you need to take in order for you to progress to the next level. That's what I'm all about. And that's what I'm keen to meet other like-minded individuals that are about the same thing, like yourself, Alex.
Okay, well, no, it's been great meeting you, man. It's just been amazing, the conversations we've had so far. So before we go, let's go to the sponsor for a final word.
You are listening to the Message Talk Show and Podcast. Do you believe you have something to share? Do you believe you have something to contribute? Do you have a story to tell the world, to share with your community? Gandhi said, man often becomes what he believes himself to be. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. So join us on the Message Talk Show and Podcast with host Alex Gordon.
And it's so important that the stories that we have across our community, across the B.A.M.E community, across all the sponsors that helped, all the stories need to come out. We need to be hearing the stories. We need to be hearing the testimonials. We need to be hearing what's happening in our community to bring change, because that's what we're looking for. We want change. We want change for a generation. We want to see healthy people develop. We want to see healthy professionals. We want to see corporations built now to establish real businesses that provide employment opportunities in the masses in this country. We need to see that in our time. And even if doesn't happen in our time, but if we help facilitate that process, Roy.
Yeah, definitely.
On the move.
Definitely. Let's work together to achieve that. We've got the right environment. We can see there's a lot going on in the B.A.M.E community. There's a shift. The opportunities are out there. Let's work together to seize those opportunities and to create them as well.
Let's work together to achieve, create, and make things happen. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for tuning in today to the Message Podcast. And as I said earlier, and as the sponsor said, if you believe you have something to share, if you believe you have a contribution, we want to hear your story. We want to interview you. We want to help you connect with the mass audience, because unless your message gets out there, unless your story goes beyond you, that's where the power is. When your story gets out in our community and individuals feel, wow, if he can do it, if Roy can do it, I can do it too. If Alex can do it, I can do it too. And that's what we want. That momentum to develop, that momentum to move a movement in this country, in the United Kingdom, in 2020, going into 2021.
Yes, Alex, totally concur. Preach.
No, I'm not preaching. So guys, thank you very much for tuning into the show. Come back next week and bring a friend, bring a cup of water, bring a bag of tea. Just come and sit with us and enjoy us for 30 minutes. It was supposed to be, Roy, and you've got on for nearly 1 hour now. My God, you just love talking. Thank you so much. Don't disappear, Roy.
All right, nice one.